The house of red glass. Lust, reflection, damnation. The chateau stood like a wound upon the French countryside. Vast, elegant, and rotting beautifully beneath the pale moon. Once it had been a marvel of artistry, its walls adorned with Venetian glass and its great hall lined with mirrors that caught the sunlight and scattered it into 1,000 crimson shards. Now, those same mirrors reflected only dust and shadow. Amélie Duval, an art restorer from Paris, arrived on a gray afternoon, suitcase in one hand and her intense letter in the other. The chateau had belonged to a distant relative she never knew. The letter written in looping ink that spoke of unfinished work and a duty that must not be ignored. The gates creaked open with an almost human sigh. As she crossed the courtyard, she noticed the way light fractured through the windows, as though every pane was tinged with blood. The villagers had warned her, whispering of L'Amazon du Ver Rouge, the house of red glass, where those who looked too long into its mirrors vanished, leaving behind only faint red stains that never washed away. Amélie, being rational and stubborn, dismissed such tales as provincial superstition. But reason began to falter the moment she entered the grand hall. The mirrors greeted her like sentient eyes, hundreds of them, tall, ornate, gilded, lining the walls. In each reflection, her image shimmered faintly wrong, her expression slightly delayed, her posture subtly off. The air tasted metallic, the faint scent of iron drifting from somewhere deep within the house. The voice in the glass on her second night, as candlelight flickered across the mirrors, she heard it, a voice, low and melodic, resonating through the glass. "You've come," it whispered, smooth as silk, cold as marble. Her breath caught. "Who's there?" "A prisoner," it murmured, "and perhaps—" "Your reflection," the mirrors rippled as though stirred by invisible wind. In one of them, she glimpsed a man, tall, pale, with eyes like garnet flame. His beauty was haunting, terrible. He looked at her not as a ghost might, but as one might look upon a long-awaited lover. "They trapped me here," he said. "Your bloodline did. I've waited centuries for the one who would set me free." Amélie stumbled back, her rational mind rebelling. But his voice coiled around her like a melody she couldn't unhear. The descent days blurred. She found herself drawn to the mirrors again and again. She cleaned them, polished their gilded frames, restored the carvings of serpents and roses that adorned their edges. With each touch, the reflections grew sharper. Sometimes she caught sight of the man watching her from within, his hand pressed against the glass, his lips curving into a faint, sorrowful smile. Other times, the mirrors seemed to breathe with her, fogging gently when she exhaled. Sleep evaded her. She dreamt of red corridors, of candlelight dripping like blood, of kisses against glass that left her mouth cold. The villagers' words returned to her. Those who fall in love with the mirrors never return as themselves. Yet she could not stop. The kiss of glass. One night, the man's voice grew urgent. "It must be you," he pleaded. "The glass is our prison and our passage. You are my heir. Your hands hold what your ancestors sealed. Break the mirror. Free me." Her hand trembled over the nearest pane. She saw him clearly now, eyes burning, lips parted, hunger and grief warring across his face. Behind him flickered shapes, others, dozens of them, pale and silent, faces pressed against the glass. "Who are they?" she whispered. "Souls forgotten," he said. "Victims of their own desires. They wanted eternity. I offered it." Her heart pounded. The truth dawned. He was no victim. He was the curse, and yet she could not look away. "I can give you love beyond time," he murmured. "One kiss, Amélie." Through the glass, her fingers brushed the surface. It burned cold. The shattering, the mirror fractured with a sound like a scream. Light exploded red, white, blinding, flooding the hall in 1,000 reflections. Wind howled through the chateau as every mirror cracked and sang, voices of centuries-long agony released. When silence finally fell, the air was still. The glass was gone. The walls were bare. In their place, a single figure stood. The man, real and whole, eyes alight with immortal fire. "You freed me," he whispered. But when Amelie reached for him, her hand passed through empty air. She turned to the nearest wall and gasped. Her reflection stared back from the only remaining fragment of mirror, eyes wide with terror. She pressed her palm to the glass, but it was solid, unyielding. "No," she whispered. "No." On the other side, he smiled, a slow, sorrowful smile, and walked away into the dawn. Silence. The villagers say the château stands quiet once more, its mirrors gone, its curse lifted. But sometimes, at sunset, when the light hits the windows just right, you can see her, a woman in the glass, eyes pleading, lips mouthing words no one can hear. And if you listen closely, you'll hear her whisper, soft as a dying breath, "Set me free."